Good morning, everyone. Happy Vlogmas Day 22 from the Pacific Northwest, where it is raining, kind of what would be expected this time of year. My name is Karina, and it is about 5:40 in the morning, and I'm heading up to the barn to feed the horses. It's part of my daily routine. It is Friday, so it is my day off, as I work Monday through Thursday, neighbor lights. So the rhythm is a little bit different on Fridays. I still get up really early and knit, as you saw in the previous segment, but I just typically knit a little bit longer. Here's the pond, the outfall of the creek. There's the upstream part, the house and the Christmas tree. I typically knit a little bit longer and drink more tea, maybe a second cup, ducking under the fence. I am meeting a friend for coffee at 7, so I kind of have to hurry. I'm almost finished with the nutcracker sock. In fact, I'm just weaving in ends, so I finished the knitting part, and I'll show those later. So the horses are standing under the tree. Maybe you'll see, because he's gray. There's Odin. Bragi, I'm sure, is right by him. So that's their favorite place to be when it's raining. Not in their stalls where it's dry and there's still hay. Here I am at the barn. I'm gonna get to feeding. Here I'm walking back up to the house. Oh, here, let me see if I'm backing up. See if you can see. So both horses are in, sorry for the shadow, in Odin's stall eating hay. I didn't separate them this morning because I am going to town and in a bit of a hurry. Although that barn chores went surprisingly fast. It's just 6 a.m. now, so that only took like 20 minutes. One thing I wanted to mention about the solstice around here is that one of my Facebook friends mentioned that we are getting one additional second of daylight starting on the 21st of December, so today. And because I think someone else said it was a minute, and you know how controversies go on social media, so it's 1 minute more daylight. No, it's only 1 second. Anyway, I've never really noticed a difference until at least the beginning of January, and a definite difference at the end of January. But with the rain and cloud cover in the sky, it definitely feels dark for longer, which is one of the reasons why I call it solstice week. On that note, back up at the house, I'm going to get ready for my coffee date with my friend, and maybe I'll show some footage of the place we go, my favorite coffee shop, grocery store ever, the Skagit Valley Food Co-op. Hi everyone, welcome to the knitting portion of my podcast on this December 22nd. I have a finished object for you. What am I wearing? So I am wearing a cowl that is of my own design. The ribbing, I think, is a twisted rib. Let me take it off so I can show you. It is yes, it is definitely a twisted rib. And then I did a 13 stitch lace pattern, and this is out of scraps. Some of this yarn was part of a unicorn tail bundle, so in other words, a bunch of minis. And I just knit, I don't remember how many rows I knit, but the stitch pattern around, and you can get that from a stitch dictionary, is 13 stitch repeat. So when you cast on, you just need to cast on in multiples of 13. So I think what I did, and I think I knit this last year, is I did the stitch. So I did this lace pattern and then just did like 3 plain rounds before I switched colors. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's about 16 to 18 deep. This is it's fingering weight yarn. It's a little bit big for me, and I think I cast on 169 stitches. If I were to do this again, I would want to probably maybe cast on 26 stitches less than that, so 143. Yeah. Which, who knew 143 was divisible by something, but apparently it's divisible by 13. So that's how I did that. The twisted rib is just a little bit of a fancier ribbing. You could do a standard rib to make it maybe a little more snug. I have certainly thought about kind of snugging up both ends. I just haven't yet. So anyway, this one kind of goes with everything except perhaps red, because there is the bright pink in it. So I wear it quite a lot. I am also wearing, these are socks that I finished. This was a Stephen West sock knit along, and it's looks a lot more complicated than it is. If you haven't knit Stephen West before, he likes to try out a lot of different stitch patterns, but he explains things very well, and a lot of these are just slip stitches and garter ridges. So pretty easy. The heel, so you're only working with 1 strand of yarn at a time. I probably did, I don't know if I did 56 or 60 stitch cast on. It looks like a 3 by 2 rib. So it'd have to be divisible by 5. So I assume I did a 60 stitch cast on. I have kind of long skinny feet here, so I always have to knit the smallest size for them to fit, plus I have a little bit of a looser gauge. What I like about these socks is that because there's a lot of slip stitches, they are a little bit thicker, so they're almost like DK weight. I knit 1 pair of DK weight socks, and but not out of sock yarn. And when I did my wash, I forgot and threw them in the washing machine. I mean, I do my sock yarn just in the washing machine and just let them air dry, but the non-sock yarn DK weight felted, and I couldn't even get them on my foot, so big bummer. Finished object. I finished the Nutcracker theme socks. It was a knit along hosted by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. It was her pattern. This pattern, she makes these patterns available to all patrons. So I kind of reversed, just for fun, I reversed color 2 and color 3 until I got to the foot, and then I forgot. Actually I did, it looks like after the heel, or the gusset, and then the stripes and the foot, and then when I got to this, I forgot about it, and so now they match again. Yeah, these are really fun socks. I had a great time knitting them, and I actually have Christmas socks. So they are not blocked. I don't block my socks, I just wear them, and then they go in the washing machine, because these are all made out of sock yarn. So let me show you. I have a lot left. This is color 1. It is a hand-painted yarn from a company in Montana that has recently changed hands. I think I have the tag in here. When I come across it, I'll let you know. This is Jadawoo. So these were in my Sophia's Tales knit along, as were these. So I'm getting quite a lot of pairs of socks out of those skeins of yarn. The gold yarn is, I don't know why I can't remember this, but I can't. Gadifra. Okay, sorry about the interruption. My timer just went off. I have a cheesecake in the oven. I am making a pumpkin cheesecake with a cookie crumb crust. It's made out of ginger snaps. We like the Trader Joe's ginger snaps that have these like nice chunks of ginger in them. So it was time for me to turn down the oven. So back to the socks. The yarn. So Gadifra is this gold color. That was originally intended as color 3. This is Jadawoo in just navy. Jadawoo is a local yarn dyer, local to the Pacific Northwest. And this one, I was looking for the tag. It's a hand-painted yarn. I know the colorway is truffle. And it is from a yarn maker in Montana. And I have other oh, well, maybe this is truffle from Hedgehog Fibers. I do wonder. So I also have a label in here from Freckled Whimsey. So I may have been telling you wrong this whole time, but this looks like, I just don't remember. So I apologize for that, especially if I got it wrong. I do have links in the show notes for the different kinds of yarns that I use. So it is entirely possible that I have this wrong. I know Jadawoo because the label is tucked in there. The needles, I use Chalgu red lace, size 0, US size 0, which is 2 I think just 2 millimeter. Yeah, and I use the 80 centimeter or 32 inch cord for my socks. I don't knit socks as much as I used to, in part because the needles are small and my left thumb starts to bother me. I knit left-handed, and that has, so the small needles tends to put a little bit of strain on my thumb. So I am doing projects with bigger needles. So I still like using fingering weight yarn. And we'll make, you know, cowls and shawls and hopefully some fingering weight sweaters. So super excited about these socks. Yeah, really fun to knit. If you like knitting socks, I recommend going to thebakerybears.com and clicking on their patterns. And she has a lot that are for sale that are really reasonably priced. Earlier, I said I was going to have coffee with a friend, and we did. I forgot to get some footage of the co-op, the Skagit Valley Food Co-op. It is a great co-op. It is well known regionally. It's been around since 1973. I do remember when they opened. I was a little kid at the time. My mom was very interested in natural whole foods back then. So and back then everything was in bulk. So everything like carob chips, which are, in my opinion, are terrible. I'm not sure what the deal was with carob versus chocolate at the time. I mean, since then, of course, it seems like eating dark chocolate is good for you. And maybe the carob chips didn't have as much sugar or something in them. Who knows? I don't remember. Maybe some of you who are older than me remember. We also had brown whole wheat spaghetti, which was unusual. I really do not like whole wheat spaghetti. If I'm going to eat pasta, it is going to be made out of, I always buy organic when it's available. It might be out of semolina.
which I think is different than wheat. I don't know a lot of details about it. We have been eating a lot more pasta lately, in part because, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but I make pesto out of carrot tops. So you pick all the soft leaves off the stem, and you make it just the same way you would basil pesto. I use walnuts instead of pine nuts, just because they're a little bit more affordable and more neutral tasting. And then use Parmesan and olive oil. And if you are vegan, you could certainly skip the Parmesan if you wanted to. And I think it would just make a really delicious sauce. So now I buy carrots based on the quality of their fronds. So I can make carrot top pesto. And it's just really good with, and I use lasagna noodles a lot. And I just boil the water, break up the lasagna noodles, throw them in the pan for, I don't know. In fact, I don't even think I have the water boiling yet. So I guess what I do, I fill up a pot about halfway with water, a small pot, and then I take 6 to 8 dry lasagna noodles, and I break it up, put it in the pan before the water starts boiling, add salt and olive oil to it, and then bring it to a boil. I think I set the timer for 10 minutes. And then by the time it comes to a boil and, I turn it down and simmer it, it's done. And then I drain it, toss it with pesto, and serve it with a vegetable. Lately, we've been eating a lot of Brussels sprouts because there are local Brussels sprouts in the stores right now, and they are very tasty. So that has been dinner at least twice this last week. That is all I have for knitting and cooking for now. It is pouring down rain, so I am going to work on, I think, possibly, what do I have here? I have a stocking right next to me. A stocking. This is not a stocking. This is a scarf. I have been watching the Arne and Carlos Advent, catching up on the Advent vlogs, and they of course are doing an Advent stocking knit along, and I have started it. I am at the heel and just have not got that far. So I have been working on this, which is a color work scarf. I have brought up a few times this week. So so it's a seamless cast on. I think it's Judy's Magic cast on. And then these little color work reindeer, the color work snowman, and then this pattern, which could be mountainous. And then I'm on the 4th row of motifs. This pattern is by Pacifico Knits, which is a Seattle-based yarn designer. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. I need to open Advents. It is the last Friday of Advent. So you will get more knitting content after the cheesecake is done. So stand by for that, and I'll see you soon. While I'm waiting for the cheesecake, I just wanted to show you some of the decorations that we have. So this is a handmade banner, I guess you would call it, by Randy's great aunt, who has passed. She's been passed for many years. I never met her, but it was just kind of really neat, the details on this. And it says, I think, joy to, oh, 'tis the season. Yeah, that's what it says. And then this one is the 12 Days of Christmas. Sorry about the light that's off to the right. So, also made by her. I'll just briefly show you the paintings. Those were painted by Randy's late mother. And down to the 12. And And the Christmas tree with a lot of handmade ornaments. We didn't put so many of the handmade ornaments on it this year because we took down the grate. We used to have a grate for the cats when they were younger. They haven't bothered the tree. So maybe next year it'll be safe to put up some more of the handmade ornaments. This ornament here is from one of our Christmas trees since we lived here. I guess it was 2022. Randy made that. And we have another one here. This was 2021. And then this one was our first Christmas tree here when we moved here in 2019. Here we go. Here's a purring Herbert. Hi, Herbert. And then also, it's pouring down rain outside. So I'm not going to spend much time outside. Instead, I'm going to try to catch up on my knitting. And this is the angel, was made by Randy's late mother. We just have a blanket under the Christmas tree right now. And Herbert's kind of waking up. So I'm back for the final segment of the knitting portion of my podcast. I'm in my usual podcast location, upstairs, kind of our workout room, spare bedroom, library. Sitting in the rocking chair with the Afghan my mom crocheted for me when I was, I want to say I was about 12. I'm not positive about that, but it's made from variegated acrylic yarn, so it has stood the test of time. It's been in the washing machine and probably the dryer too, is my guess. So I wanted to take the opportunity to show you the rest of my knitting projects that I have either made progress on or not. This is the Arne and Carlos stocking that I think I'm going to work on today. The bag was made by my mom. Some of this is hand dyed fabric, and it's quilted, and it has a nice drawstring, so no yarn gets caught in the zipper. She did make the, oh here, I'll show it, the dragonfly one. That is my favorite sock project bag. Although I do have problems when I'm less organized, I do get yarn caught in the zipper. So since then, since I mentioned that, she's been making me more of the drawstring bags, which I love. So here's the Arne and Carlos stocking so far. This was supposed to be an invisible cast on, like Judy's Magic cast on, but I didn't read the directions and thought I had it memorized from the scarf that I just showed you, but I didn't. So I twisted some stitches and it's not quite invisible. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a decoration. Probably not for this Christmas, because I doubt I will get it done in the next, what's today, the 22nd, 3 days. Well, maybe. It's only 6 rounds a day, and those have, when I have worked on this, has actually gone pretty quickly. So I'm at the point where I need to do the heel. So I think I'm going to do that as soon as I stop podcasting. I am using, I think these are size 4 Jadawoo red lace, my favorite knitting needles. It has a, you can see that, if it would hold still, it's a little stocking stitch marker that I got from Row 1. I did their monthly subscription for a little bit. I just have too much yarn, so I stopped, but I did love those. And I think next Advent, I will probably do many of the same Advents that the Crazy Sock Lady has. So I don't know if you watch her podcast. I put a link in the show notes, but she has some nice Advents, and I did the Polka Dot Creek Advent. I picked the 24 mini bouquet, which I will show you. based on the Crazy Sock Ladies Advent from last year, although I think I prefer the individual box opening. So this is what I have left of that. And I'll just show you the scarf while I'm at it. I cherry picked out the pink. You know, when you stop in the middle of a row, there's always a danger that your needles are going to disengage from your project, and that is bad. So I cherry picked the lighter colors, the pinkish. Well, here, let me show you the right side from that, and then I am adding some like lavender and pink from scraps. So this is where it started, and it's building on this side. So I think this is going to be a really nice shawl for the summer. This looks like a row 1 mini from that subscription I was just talking about. I am using Addy needles. I think this is the 40-inch cord. I like these as well. I would have gotten Chowgy red lace if I could find them online at the time I needed them. But Addy is just fine too. They're high quality. So I'm pretty far behind on these, on this project, but since I've decided it's going to be a summer project, it's a lot less urgent, and I will use those darker colored minis for something else. What else did I bring up? I brought up, I already showed you this one. This is the scarf, the Pacific Knits Co. scarf with all the winter motifs. So my knitting plan, like I said, is to work on the Arne Carlos stocking. We'll see if I can get it done. And then the only thing I have left to do is do the Legacy Fiber Arts. Oops, box upside down. Fiber Arts Advent. So this was a 4-week Advent. This was week 1. Twinkle's Tea House. So 50 grams and 20 grams, which is enough for me to get a pair of socks out of. I tend to like the kind of the crew length socks, so that come up to about my calf. And then, like I said, so typically I think what I do is about 50-50 for the leg and the foot. So about 100 rows for leg and foot. Typically I do like a 12 to 20 round cuff, and for the toe, for the what you call it, the nutcracker socks that I just finished, I actually did it's K. Jones Cottage Toe, and I actually did that in 14 rounds. So Gingerbread In was week 2 of Legacy Fiber Arts. And then week 3 was the light string, very pretty, and just looks like an undyed mini. So that's going to be fun. And here's week 4. So get to decide what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to make these all into socks, or if I am going to use this book by Tellybeans Knits. By the way, that Advent scarf that I was talking about is by Tellybeans Knits, and she has a book on using self-striping yarn for other projects. So I may dive into that a little bit. Ooh. Isn't this pretty? This is called Penguin Parade. Very pretty. Yeah. Oh, I love this. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. So here's what the box looks like. Let me get the tissue out of the way. All together. So very pretty gift box. And then I had a Scrappy Advent. It was an exchange organized by the Crea Bea, who is a podcaster and a prolific knitwear designer from Edinburgh. And I got paired up with a person who is from Portland, Oregon. So in my region, I guess you could say. And the idea was a 12-day Advent. And so I have 2 left. I think I'm gonna open one and then maybe I'll open the next one on either Christmas Eve or on Christmas. So pardon the crinkles. Ooh, look at this. This is very pretty. This is very similar to the Legacy Fiber Arts type. So this is Capella, looks like Capella Luna Fibers, fingering weight. So this will be pretty. This will be a nice contrast to something. Oh. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to figuring out projects for this. I am going to save this one for another day. I also, the other Advent I got, and the whole purpose of this is Freckled Whimsy, one of my favorite yarn dyers, self-striping yarn dyers. This is either a 24 or a 25-day striped, a design for Advent knitting socks, which I didn't do. I had too many projects going on, and including one, one sock already on the needles. So let me see what she said. This is Hearth and Home, 24 stripe. Self-striping yarn, hand dyed in Indiana. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. Stay tuned. I'm sure it'll come up in a project, probably in my regular podcast, my regular episodes when I start those up sometime in January. I have mentioned I may do the 12 days of Christmas. So first day of Christmas will be on the 25th. So Advent ends on the 24th. And meaning I think Vlogmas ends on the 24th. And I think I'm going to do first day of Christmas on December 25th. And it'll be a very short episode because we have a full day of visiting relatives. And then the 12th day of Christmas is January 6th on the Epiphany, if you were raised in a Christian church like I was. So I kind of like those traditions, even though I'm not a very religious person. I would say I'm more of a spiritual person. And, I hope you think so, with the amount of time and care that I pay attention to the needs of my animals and the environment and all living beings. So on that note, I am going to end this podcast. It's going to be longer than my normal weekday ones. As if you have been watching this week, I've had a very busy work week, and today is my day off. Hallelujah. I am going to spend a lot of time knitting, and I will show a picture of the cheesecake. It is out of the oven and it is cooling. So, and it needs to cool slowly. This is the recipe. The pumpkin cheesecake is out of the Joy of Cooking. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but it has its time in the oven, which is 30, I think all total, it's about an hour. And then when you take it out of the oven, you put it on a rack and then you invert a bowl on top of it so it cools very slowly. So that's what it's doing. Maybe I will include that in tomorrow's footage. That would, when it's all cooled, it's been in the refrigerator and ready to serve at our pre-Christmas Eve dinner. All that to say, have a lovely Friday, day after solstice. If you don't notice more daylight today, daylight is coming, and sometimes that is quite enough. I'll see you tomorrow.